Let's find out what's in the feed. What's in the feed this week? Let's find out what's in the feed. Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of What's in the Feed. Last week was a very, very interesting week. First off, I'd like to say thank you for all of the new watchers, listeners, if you may. Of course, this was sparked by a situation that we all know about. And that was a situation with Mark Davis, 16th District candidate for Congress. I'll get back to that. But I want to thank all of the patriots, all of the support that was put behind Claire Patriot. For whatever reason, Claire seems to be a lightning rod for some of the more negative left-wing actors. This is not the first time that it's happened. I've tried to put my finger on exactly why she is a target. And I think that after contemplation, it's that Claire has a very motherly, a very pleasant presentation in a sort of a bedside manner. And they hate this. They want everybody that proclaims to be a patriot or to be MAGA to be some crazy, wacky, off-the-wall individual, because that's what they are. And I don't think that they understand that people on our side are more measured. So this all started off with the situation, and you guys all know about this. Thank you guys for tuning into the emergency episode. That's an episode where I felt so that what he did was so egregious that I had to comment on it. So doxing an individual for any side, right or left, is, to me, one of the weakest moves that an individual can make. This episode, I've decided that I'm going to go uncensored. So if I fly off here and there, please forgive me. But I've noticed, like I say, with the left, that they want us to be the extreme ones. They want us to be the ones that fly off the handle. And this individual doxed himself. And if you don't know the story, then I'll just break it down very quickly because I'm trying not to give it too much attention in this episode. And by the way, thank you guys, everybody in Florida that supported. I'm wearing my Florida shirt in celebration for the fact that this guy was exposed. So what happened was Claire responded to a post where Mr. Davis called the police with the thought that he had got a bomb threat. So he got a mysterious package in the mail, and it turned out that it was a glitter bomb. And now his nickname now is, Glitter Bomb. So it was comical. He called out the bomb squad, and this was all based on the fact that he has been attacking several MAGA influencers. This is a man with deep, deep Trump derangement syndrome. Now, rarely on my show do I bring up the moniker of MAGA, okay? Because they've made it a pejorative. And they've tried to put a negative spin on MAGA. Would I consider myself MAGA? Yeah, probably. I'm a patriot. I've always been a patriot. I've always supported the conservative side of politics. However, I never have the same visceral reaction to others in the other party. I will admit I felt that way with Biden. I was disgusted every single day that Biden was in office. I had a 4-year stomach ache for everything that Biden did. As most of you did when you were younger, as I was younger, and you were convinced that politics was real and that politics was honest, you voted for Obama. I have voted for Obama twice. And like a lot of black conservatives like myself, we realized at the end of Obama's term that we were being lied to, that we were being swindled. But the Democratic Party, as it was, no longer exists. And so we have individuals now that will openly attack families, innocent people. So Mr. Glitterbomb basically felt that he was being doxxed, okay? So that's the story. I know it's getting a little convoluted here and I'm jumping from subject to subject, but initially what happened was that Claire made a funny video about him doxing himself and the hilarity of the fact that what he received in the mail was actually a glitter bomb from the company that makes glitter bombs. So it'd be the equivalent of somebody sending you a bouquet of flowers. However, I feel like in his mind, he felt like it was a credible threat. Now, most politicians or most wannabe politicians don't get on social media and try to troll people. And it appears that that's what Mr. Davis does. Now, I will tell you, just like most of you, none of us knew who Mark Davis was, but because he's a local politician that's running for Congress in a location that actually happens to be close to where Claire Patriot, who was the victim of this, lives, she was aware of it. And so I probably was local news. Now, I don't think that this guy thought that he was going to get as much backlash back on this. Now, we all know that the bullies always target the person that they think won't get them in trouble. Oh, I can attack them, a weak target. But what he doesn't realize is that what Claire represents, not Claire as an individual, but what Claire does and what she stands for is much, much larger than an individual can attack. Personally, I have respect and admiration for Claire, as a lot of you do. So I am not going to take any individual credit for Mr. Davis being exposed because it was a team effort. And I want to thank all of you that, including myself, went relentlessly into exposing Mr. Davis. Now, I'm going to play this video here in a few minutes, but I want to let you know. Originally, when this situation happened, I posted an emergency episode. And this might have been, and I'm not trying to scoop anybody, okay? Which is quite honest, because there were a lot of other reporters, other shows, other podcasters, other content providers. And so me with a smaller following probably got lost in the sauce. But I believe that if I wasn't the first, then I had to be one of the first to actually report on this guy. So when all the hubbub was going on with the initial reaction to the fact that he went on several social media sites with the threat of doxing Claire, outwardly saying that he was going to dox her. We're all just normal human beings that exist here on social media. And we all know that Claire is just a regular person. I won't give any details to the fact, of exactly why the threat was over the top and more than credible until we got the truth, which was exposed when we got a video. And I really apologize because I know that the person that actually went out and got this video should get credit for it. So I'm really sorry, ma'am, that I don't have your name, but this is what brave patriots do. And this is what heartened me, is that we all bound together in support of one of our own and our own cause and what we believe in. Because we all believe in fair and balanced cut without the anger and without the resentment that comes from the left. It is hard for us to understand when we are attacked like that. Why? Why would you do that? And it was hard for me to swallow that someone would do that. It's unconscionable, especially from a person that is supposed to be a politician. Now, this is a guy who's running for office, so he isn't actually a politician yet. But we can imagine how this guy would be. So he called for the doxing of Claire Patriot. What happened was it was perceived as a credible threat after a huge amount of the Twitter space, I would have to say tens, hundreds of thousands of people got wind of this based upon the whole network that exists, that bounces off of Claire and the people that are connected to Claire. This is the great thing about social media, is that 100 of mine see 100 of yours, and they see 100 of yours and 1,000 of yours. And so it becomes an exponential wave. And I don't think this guy thought there was going to be that amount of tension, but I posted up my emergency episode. Immediately after, not immediately, shortly thereafter, I had individuals that reached out to me, credible individuals. Now, like I say, it's probably just because I was the first one, not the first one, that I was early in pointing this out and doing the emergency show like on the day of. So I had an individual who actually purported and claimed to be someone that served with Mr. Davis in the Air Force. And I do my due diligence. I'm not a licensed reporter or anything of that nature, but none of the things that you will see that are on my show, which is an entertainment show for the most part, even though I'm getting a little bit heavy in this episode and have got heavy in episodes before when there's a subject matter that I need to, highlight. But there was credible information that Mr. Davis wasn't exactly who he was making himself to be. And that's a tough guy and a veteran and a man's man. We had similar situations with other trolls in the past that have attacked people like Claire that only attack females, women, whom they perceive to be weak targets. To me, that's always a red flag. It's a red flag that we're dealing with a bitch. We're dealing with somebody who's bitch made. We're dealing with somebody who potentially is falsifying or overcompensating. Probably the good way to get you guys to understand. When I say overcompensating, I hope you understand what I mean by overcompensation. And it's not always small wee. Sometimes it's living a life or dealing with former trauma or dealing with facts about yourself that you can't address. So this individual that served with Mr. Davis claimed that Mr. Davis participated in some hazing rituals in the Air Force and that these rituals perpetuated sexual acts. Okay. I said on my posts when I did post this as exclusive information, and I'm saying this at the risk of litigation. So I wouldn't say it if I didn't think that there was some credible crumb that there is a possibility. I will say that this individual checked out, but I will say that this information is alleged. I don't have a recording. I don't have footage. A lot of what we get accused of in this world is he say, she say anyway. Hence, I was keeping that very close to the vest. And the fact that I needed to. I don't want to smear anybody's reputation with untruths. But even after the fact, when I saw this video, and this video was the real bombshell, after the report and after the initial blowback, and then the fact that he got suspended from X, he started a bit of a firestorm with the supporters of the Patriot movement and individuals in Florida. By the way, there were several individuals that reached out that actually wanted to report incidents. And I know that there were a few people that already know about, it's public, about his incident blowing up in a grocery store, apparently screaming, expletives and screaming about MAGA this and MAGA that. I don't know the details of that, but I know that people have felt threatened by this guy. He's a little bit unleashed and unkiltered. That said, let's watch this video. This video was taken the day after. So after all the hubbub and the several reports and the exposure of Mr. Davis, he was caught at a public event and he was confronted directly about what was happening with Claire. I'm going to play that for you now. If you haven't seen this video has gone viral. I don't know how far and wide it's gone, but this, to me, is a nail in the coffin. We'll give commentary on it at the end. But after all of the things that I've told you, then keep in the back of your mind what I just said to you, okay? Here's the video, guys. Let me blow it up for you, all right?
Hi, I'm Chelsea. Nice to meet you. I'm recording, just so you know. Nice to meet you. I wanted to say, so I looked into you a little bit, and I know that you believe in the Constitution. You heavily believe in free speech. I absolutely love that about you. But I wanted to know, especially if you are elected, are you going to stand by the repeated statements that you've made that women are to be beat?
Well, I said, well, it's funny because MAGA always asks me what the definition of a woman is.
Yeah.
And I say the definition of a woman is somebody that MAGA beats because MAGA.
No,
are
you didn't say that.
disgusting,
I've got it.
vile people.
No,
That
no.
was what
You
I
said a woman
I said
is
MAGA
somebody you
that,
beat.
I said MAGA is somebody, or a woman is somebody that MAGA beats because they are disgusting, vile people. If you need a definition of a woman, look at your husband.
I've got
it's
it.
Probably somebody that
It's not my husband.
beats.
He's a friend. No. No. A woman is somebody you beat.
A woman is somebody that MAGA beats.
So you have a daughter and a wife. Do you beat them, and do you want your daughter
I'm
to
not
grow
MAGA. Only MAGA men beat women.
Oh, is that? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what about doxing people? I'm just curious.
Yeah, they
Why
dox
do you,
me all the time. All I do is
you
threaten.
dox yourself.
All I do is threaten to dox
You
them.
dox
All I do is threaten to
you-
dox them.
you-
all I do is threaten it.
you
All I
sent-
do is threaten it. All I do
Oh,
is
is that
threaten
what you're
it. All you guys do is actually dox me. All I do is actually
No,
threaten
you
it.
dox
And then
yourself.
you guys freak out in my messages every time I threaten
No,
to dox you.
you
But
asked-
I don't actually dox you.
Okay.
You guys are the ones
You-
breaking the law. You guys are the ones sending
You put
glitter
your
bombs.
own-
You are the ones sending glitter bombs
You're the
to my
glitter bitch
address.
boy.
Yeah, that's funny. And listen.
No.
It's
Nobody
funny.
said that.
It is
You
funny. You know
asked-
what's funny about
You
it?
asked your followers
This
to
is-
go after a mother.
I
You
asked
asked them to
is
go
the-
after a
she
mother.
doxed me.
No, she
You,
did
ma'am,
not.
ma'am,
You put your
get
address
out of here.
online.
MAGA
This is-
beats women. That's
Keep
what I
saying
said.
it. No, they
Yes,
don't.
they do.
You said.
I said.
You
I
said.
said the definition
to
of a woman
love
is somebody
each
that
other.
MAGA beats.
I'm not gonna love him.
To stop
I'm
now.
done.
I want you
No,
to
he was
love
shouting. He
each
didn't let
other.
me get it out.
Please, we have children here.
I understand,
We're going
but
to
he
spread
has gone
love.
into Publix
Stop
and
filming.
screamed at people. I'm not gonna do this. You said
The
somebody
definition
after
of
a mother.
woman is somebody that MAGA beats.
No, you said a definition of a woman is somebody you beat. It's everywhere. Everybody, just so you know, he has put on social media that women are people that you beat.
That MAGA beats.
No, I
MAGA
got it.
always
I'll
asks me
show
what
you.
the
He
definition
also
of
2
a
days
woman
ago
is. MAGA
asked his
always
100,000
asks me
followers
what the
to
definition of a
go
woman is,
after
and I
a
want to
woman
explain to them
and find
the
her.
definition of a woman is somebody that MAGA beats. Because you guys are violent, moronic, evil Nazis.
Take a
No, I'm
step
not
back.
MAGA. I'm
This is a
actually
family.
independent.
This is a family event. I need you to take.
I understand,
take
but
a
he
step
goes
back.
into Publix and says
Okay.
stuff like this.
All right.
Hi, I'm
Ladies and gentlemen, this might be the most revealing video that I've ever seen of a politician. From 1 to 10, meaning the level of intensity churned up from 1 to 10. Did you notice what happened there? When confronted with the truth, this is what happens. And you notice that at the end of this video, it got really quiet because people were paying attention. This guy is not the most known candidate for this particular position. I'll break down the numbers because it's important. Mr. Davis is running as an independent. He's running as an independent because he doesn't have the support of the Democratic Party in his area. There are currently 2 Democratic candidates, and there are currently 2 Republican candidates. This is in a heavily red area. Kalshi and the other aggregators, not polls. As we know, we can't trust polls, or most of us don't trust polls. So we'll go with the betting odds. The betting odds is this guy has a 4% chance, or had a 4% chance before all of this stuff happened. And there is a 74% chance on Kalshi right now that the Republican Party will take the office. You understand what I mean? Okay. So just understand that right now that 74%, I believe, to 22% Democratic And they are only tracking the Republican and Democratic candidates, meaning Mr. Davis doesn't even register. But hence, even after all of his controversy, he's still in the race. He's only raised $29,000 as a candidate. Where that came from, I don't know. I mean, they track that. But he is not only an underdog, he's an underdog. The next candidate who's up from him, which is the lower of the two Democratic candidates, is at 8% right now. So he's 4% under someone that is under 10%. Got to understand, he's half a half. He's not even half of 10%, which is the, margin of error in some places. So he has no chance. Yet he continues to campaign, which is what I didn't understand about him as a candidate anyways. He as a candidate is really unsubstantial as it pertains to what he did. And I will take credit this late in the podcast, or 26 minutes in. I will immediately after this break post the public service announcement that I posted that night. No one else did it. And I'm not trying to, like I said, I'm not trying to scoop the other people that will say that they were involved in the exposure of Mr. Davis. I've always come to the defense of anybody who's been attacked. And in this particular case, especially Claire, she's like on the top 5 list of the people that I want to emulate, that I want to be like, and that I appreciate, and that I respect. So immediately when she was attacked, I went headlong into researching the laws, the remedies, the resolutions of how to fix, or how to not punish him, but how to hold him responsible. Because I was appalled that a candidate would point out an individual. I mean, there's millions of people. One person criticizes you and then you call for them being doxxed. People with families, people with kids, people that are normal people. They are not public officials. They are not public entities. They do shows and they do posts in their car and at their house. I mean, these aren't people that a normal politician should even have on their wire. But yet you have somebody who is, for all intents and purposes, supposed to be holding themselves to a higher standard, that are attacking normal American citizens. It's crazy. But I did the research immediately, and I wanted to know what the resolution was. There still is a drafted complaint to the Florida Election Board that didn't get sent out. He's been buried so deeply that I didn't feel it was necessary to do that. However, in the meantime, advocates of the Patriot movement in support of Claire have put up a change.org petition. And I have signed it. And if you guys are in this loop, you're going to already know where to go find it. You can find it in any of the Patriot and or MAGA circle. There's I've got to say, probably tens of thousands of people that have it posted now. I will repost it on my page tomorrow, and I will repost it so that you guys can sign up. And that's for his removal from Congress. When I saw it, I thought, this is great. I mean, after the fact. But initially, my thought process was, what is legal in the state of Florida when it comes to doxing, when it comes to online threats? So I looked it up, and there's a code, and you'll see the code. I think it would probably be boring to play that public service announcement, but I think he saw that public service announcement because what I found out was that he had a couple of individuals that followed the account in question. We all have this as, even the smaller conservative influence have these things where you will have it's not a bot, but there are these third-party accounts. So Jim Joe Bob, that's a Democrat, has his main, page, and then he opens up another page with a, little happy face as a, profile picture, and will follow the other conservatives and, kind of play the background. They won't make comments or attract any attention to themselves, but they will monitor whoever the account is for whoever that person who wants to know the information is. And since Mr. Davis got really fumed when Elon and Nikita Bear, who were actually pinned directly, and kudos to them, it just goes to show they immediately saw that this guy was in the wrong. So he got his account suspended. And that is part of the reason that the individuals that reached out to me. They wanted me to know, hey, by the way, given the proximity, excuse me, we're fans of Claire, and we know this guy, and we're flabbergasted that he would do something like this because it's wrong. And so they wanted to share information about that. But I believe that he saw the public service announcement that I put up. Maybe I'll put it at the end of the show. I'm not sure yet how I want to do this. This show actually is not going the way that I thought it is. I thought I'd be off Mr. Davis a long time ago, but maybe I was a little bit more irritated about it than I thought. But I put a public service announcement up that told him point blank, here's how we feel. Here's the legality behind it. It's illegal. It's considered a Class A felony. In the simplest of terms, doxing is. Then doxing with the intent to threaten is 2 years and another fine. And then doxing with a credible threat. And so it goes on, and you can see it. And I'm reading not verbatim, but basically breaking it down. There were 2 lawyers that reached out to me directly, said they would take the case pro bono, point blank. I know everybody seems to think that lawyers are like superheroes or something, or they're like, not. There's lawyers are a dime a dozen, but 2 local lawyers reached out and would have taken that case had, this thing escalated, which it fizzled out as far as I know. We seem to have defeated the dragon in this case. And it's happened before. This is not the first time that we've had to band together to side with one of our own. But this you know, happened. What happened was, after that, you can see in this video that's so long. It's been a long time since we've watched that video, but you can see in the video that he repeats over and over again that he's threatening to dox, that he's threatening to dox, that he's threatening. He repeats it several times because he saw that public service announcement that told him that what he was doing was illegal. So now he has to say he didn't do it. Now he had to say his intention was to scare people. His intention was to get back at the so-called doxers of him, which he knows to be absolutely false. Everybody knows the story was that he doxed himself and got a glitter bomb because he put his address out there and said, come get me, because he's a tough guy. Apparently, tough guy that, okay, well, I just was about to give myself a fucking lawsuit there. But apparently, that's what he exposed in this video was the real truth behind it. So we had not one, but two, three, I believe. And I won't name the others. They know who they are. And there was an ancillary threat to another patriot that they would be the next one to be doxxed. And what happened with that is that he was immediately taken down again and suspended. As far as I know, as of today, the account is still suspended, and I would consider Mr. Davis to be a candidate to be suspended permanently. Not only did he make another threat, he has done it in the past, and he's shown a history of it. He doubled fucking down. Who does that shit? This is an insecure individual. He's a limp dick pussy who only attacks women. And look at him. Just look at him, ladies and gentlemen. You heard the accusation of the earlier person who reached out to me, and now we see it. Mark Davis is not who he says he is. He is not a tough guy in his little fucking flip-flops and his little chubby tummy. And that profile picture that you see of him as a candidate looking tough and chiseled. And maybe at some point when he was in the military, before they started hazing him, he might have been a tough guy, but I think any semblance of manhood in this particular individual is gone, because you can listen to just the way that he communicates. And, the boys used to say back in the days that he sounds like he's got a little sugar in the tank. Take it how you want to take it. I mean, the glove should have been off earlier than this, but that is what it is. It's an opinion. It's an observation from me. You decide. You decide. But it looks like after all of that the threats have quieted down, because there really isn't any benefit to Mr. Davis at this point. He got spanked and smacked from so many sides that I don't think his campaign will be able to live. I don't think that there's a chance. There never was a chance, and that's what I'm letting everybody know who's listening, that there was never a chance that this guy was going to get elected. There wasn't. I mean, now maybe he can try to save face, and try to save his reputation, because his reputation has been tarnished. But there are still skeletons in the closet that can be exposed, and there's still people who want to report. And so I guess we still got some stuff in our bag of tricks if we need to pull them out. But at this point, I mean, we have to changed or turned the page and changed the subject. Well, sorry that that one went longer than I thought. And quite frankly, I hope it was entertaining, but we are going to go on to the regular show. And so, as you guys know, that What's in the Feed is normally a show and where we take the most engaged upon posts, comments, and videos, and that's the basis of the show and what we use for content. In this case, this was content. And sometimes it gets serious and it gets heavy. We do episodes like that, when they try to do the pandemic or so we will venture off into those kind of shows. But this week I wanted to at least put some fun in it. So we are going to go to this week's top 5. So top 5. Top 5 is the most engaged upon comments of the week. Now, as you guys know, I post a lot of content as it pertains to the show, but the reason that I actually started the show is because I became the king of comments. A lot of the engagement that I get on the socials is the comments that I have to the stuff that you guys post. Comical, witty, what insightful, whatever the case is, it gets a lot of engagement. Don't steal my algorithm in the way that I do things. It was just that I use the the socials like you guys use for entertainment purposes, and I find things funny, and I find like I need to crack wise on a couple of things. So this week we're going to start with a post that I would not normally comment on. I know a lot of you guys see these posts, these meme posts, and well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a black man. And so you got a lot of these like racist, joke. I don't even really know how to take them. I think that they try to insert comedy into their profile so they can say the foulest of things. But this one kind of disturbed me. I just contemplated it. Quite frankly, race has never been something that I've looked at personally. There's been a lot of criticism of black men dating white women, and I find it like strange and unusual because honestly, all I've dated is white women. I've treated them like queens, treated them perfectly fine. There's no difference between me and a redneck cowboy. As far as I know, I don't think I've ever had, well, I'm not going to say I've never had. I'm going to say it's rare that there's been a bad breakup, you know. But apparently there's a lot of criticism against just black people in general. I kind of understand the black fatigue, and that I understand that there's a group of white people that don't realize that there's a differentiation from just a regular black guy and a nigga. Okay. I've said this in several episodes, so I don't need to go very far. But I'm looking at a normal, person here, and it disturbed me. You tell me what you think about, but it got a lot of engagement. And this one is kind of a cheat, I believe, because these posts get engaged on just because it's shit on black people posts and people feel good about themselves. When somebody else says it, then they go, oh, well, I can make a joke about it too. He said it, not me. Check this video out real quick, though.
A man left me at a bar after he found out I slept with a black man. So I met this guy online, and we decided that we were going to go on a date. We were only talking for a couple days, but it was going well. And I was like, hey, it's Sunday. What are you up to today? You want to watch some football? We'll get a drink. And he was like, yeah, for sure. So we met at a bar. We're hanging out. I am not one that's like, how many people have you slept with? What's your number? Blah. We're fucking adults. I could care. Are you clean? I don't like, why is this still, it isn't a thing. But we were watching football, which led into a conversation about someone that I had slept with. And so we were talking about it, and he was like, what? And I was like, put back a little bit. And I was like, what do you mean what? And he was like, he's black. I was like, yeah, I'm fucking aware. So I was a little put off by it, but then he got like super intense, and he was like, you fucked a black man? And I was like, sir. Like, he turned into like an exorcist. I was like, what? Dude, what? And to be fair, at this point, the date was over for me, but I was like, what is wrong with you? And he like went into this whole big thing about, I'm not even going to repeat all the shit that he said about like being dirty and all that. And I was like, what is wrong? So this is where I started to plan my exit. And I was like, okay, how am I going to get out of here? I can't freaking sit here with this guy anymore. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Now, I drove myself, so I full on planned on whatever, leaving by myself anyway. But I was like, okay, I'm trying not to ghost people or be like a crazy person. He had my phone number. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom. I come back out. He was gone. I was like, that worked out fucking perfect. So I sat at the bar for the rest of the time. I met the bartender. Her name was Tara. We had a great time. And what in the actual fuck is dating?
Ladies and gentlemen, if that isn't the most real reaction, then I'm having a hard time understanding the world that we live in. That's a normal girl in a normal world with normal experiences. I don't know how many white guys react this way. Maybe you guys, you can comment me and explain to me why it would be abnormal to just date men. Okay. Especially given if you live in liberal areas or if you live in multicultural areas, you're going to be exposed to people of all races. And I don't think attraction has a color. I mean, you may have a preference, but here's the weird part about it is she is into the guy. She had pleasant experiences with him prior to this. And the only, red flag that she got was, when she was being honest with the guy. And to her, it's not a thing. And quite frankly, it really shouldn't be a thing. I get it if there's, if the individual that they're talking about is some sort of a crazy, crazed, criminal or, somebody of ill repute. But I mean, come on. But it got a response and I had to respond to it. And at this point, this might be one of the most engaged upon comments that I made in the last few weeks. And it kind of sickens me a little bit. Because I, commented on it. But what he said, and I'm going to read I close this down. I'm going to read what he said, which is what got me. It got me too. Nobody wants to date a nigger lover. I heard these kind of things every now and then, maybe way back in the 80s. Insecure guys who were, the equivalent of, incels, whatever, people that weren't that confident in their skills and their self. When we were any girl and every girl because that's what we did back in the 90s. It didn't matter whether you were white, black, yellow, whatever. We were chasing every tail that we could find, killing it. And I know that that's not an insult to women, and it's not an insult to man. Think about it. It's kind of what we need back, that killer instinct. We're going to find the cutest girl and we're going to work on her and we're going to, get her to fall in love, whatever you needed to do to propagate that seed. It's what we used to do, and it's what we don't do now, which frankly is why we're living in a pussified reality where dudes are too fucking scared to talk to women. And it's not a good thing. This whole toxic masculinity thing, it's ridiculous. But I felt for this young lady because here she is trying to make a genuine connection with the dude, and he can't get over the fucking fact that, he's insecure about the size of his junk. But I commented on it, and my comment that got damn near 7,000 views was that I love these troll accounts. Now, no one's more critical of the group in our community that we ourselves consider niggas. This is just shit posting to get clicks. Truth, I just said it. Whether your wife or your girlfriend wants to tell you the truth, they fucked a black guy too. And we all know why white guys are mad. It is what it is. Give me another reason. Because I can't find one. Poor thing. Sorry that she had a bad date. And that's number 5. Number 4 comes in from Wall Street Apes. And that's got a good 4,000 and some change, almost 5,000. 150 likes and 1 comment. And that is on this post. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Check it out.
Okay, y'all. I'm back. It's the day after Cinco de Mayo, so I don't know how good things gonna look, but it still look good to me. Everything still looks the same. You see some stuff missing, but everything still looks the same. But I said I was gonna show y'all the grocery side this time. But hold on. I just need to dang. Before I go to the grocery side, let me just show y'all everything is still, this is like a whole week later. Everything is still looking the same. Well, why are all these on clearance?
I'm going to cut this short. I think you can get the gist of this. So you got a black woman walking through Walmart. And it's the Walmart Supercenter in Texas. This particular store gets a lot of online attention because it's kind of unsettling. I guess some people think it's unsettling. The aisles are so perfectly stocked and organized, it almost looks like a fake store. This is called zoning, a daily and nightly process where employees organize and straighten the shelves and do things like face products forward, group them together in groups, okay? I didn't think it was unusual at all. As a matter of fact, I was impressed by the cleanliness in the organization of the thing. So to me, I'm going, what's wrong with that? What's strange with that? And so I say, listen to the black girl freaked out at good organization. This seems to be frying her circuits. That's what happens when your employees do a good job. I just don't understand why organization and good habits garner a video that gets 2 million views. I don't think it's that strange. I've actually been in Walmarts that look like this. And I think it's the Walmarts that are in the nicer areas in the suburbs where they don't have some of the lower quality, customers that come in that don't put stuff back in the right place and start digging through stuff and all that. It might just be me. Maybe I'm the only one that wasn't weirded out by that, but it did get engagement. So hence, that's your number 4 on the top 5. Number 3 with 2.8. We'll keep this one short and brief. This is a breaking news. This is when I posted the rare me post that got a lot of engagement. And that's when I put up the special edition episode about Mark Davis. Enough said on that. Number 3 with 2.2 comes from Tevin Marcia. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. This one is an interesting one, and it's different. Like I say, I comment on all subjects. It's not just politics, as you can see there. We had one that was politics. We had one that was just, Vanity Fair. And then we have this one, which has a religious tint to it. And when I saw it, to me, immediately, I knew what my opinion was on it. And check this video out. And someone goes, well, why do so many people place their Bibles inside their house foundation when constructing a house in this simple video? This guy's taking his family Bible and he's putting it in the wet foundation of his house. And my comment on it simply was, why would anybody ask this question? Do you not understand? Can someone tell me why we breathe air? This is the protection of God placed in your home. There could be nothing more intimate than that. Actually, when I saw that, I thought to myself, if I ever build a house, I would do the same thing. The Lord's protection. I mean, it was simple enough for me to understand, and a lot of religious people had the same reaction to it as, why would anybody be baffled as to why someone would do that? Bible inside the foundation of the construction of the house. Can you imagine how soundly you would sleep in that place, knowing that you were protected by the Lord himself, by the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit? I think that was very powerful. That one actually moved me. It's just a simple video, but the point is, to me, it's as clear as the air that we breathe. I think that's probably what I was trying to propagate with that. That's your number 2. Your number 1 is a very interesting post here. check out this video, and I had a hard time understanding it, and you could tell me if you understand it why anyone would be outraged about it. But here's the original video, and it's here we go.
Хотели бы такую пиццу.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, tell me what you see there. I see a guy making a pizza. Do you see a guy making a pizza? I see a guy making a pizza. It says the guy that recorded a Papa John's worker through the window making handmade pizza, bare hands, mixing and stretching the dough and scooping and spreading sauce with no gloves. People online are divided. Some say, how is this pizza made everywhere? Others call it unsanitary. I says, this is ridiculous. I can attach 20 videos of Master Italian Network pizza guys making real pizzas the way that they've been made for hundreds of years. I mean, how many videos do we see with guys flipping dough? I mean, come on. He's about to put that in a 500-degree oven. If you said unsanitary, then you better put yourself in a bubble. And then here's a video from a they fall in my YouTube. So I love these guys. Some Italian family in New York called Crispy Pizza. They do videos every day, all day on YouTube, and they're super popular. You guys have probably seen them too. Here's the son making a pizza. That's going to redirect me to TikTok. Anyways, you can see the image there. You get it. This is a guy making a pizza pie with his hands, just like they have for hundreds of years. Throwing the dough up, spreading the flour, and putting the toppings on, no gloves. It's normal. That got engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a wonder what gets engagement, huh? That's your top 5 for the week. Next, we're going to spin the tape, and we're going to roll the tape, and we're going to play a couple of tapes, then we're going to get out of here. This one's running long.
Okay, roll the tape.
Guys, I think I'll start off with this one. We'll keep it short, only a couple of videos this week, and we'll try to garner a little bit more next week. These are always fun, and they're always good for commentary. If you guys watched the episode a couple of weeks ago when Alev, the Angry Long Island vet, and I were talking, and we got a little philosophical on religion, and I had described to him this new thing. It's not new, but it's something that I've noticed about a particular subset of people that are non-religious. I don't know if they're atheists. I don't know if they're people of other religions. I don't know. But I found that there is a group of people that recoil at the name of Jesus. Recoil. Now, most of us are religious. I don't know if you are or not. I'm not going to bunch you in. I am. Jesus is King. Jesus is Lord. He is our Lord and Savior. He died on the cross to save us from our sins. I believe this since I was a baby. I have a healthy personal relationship with the Father, the Son, and I am filled with the Holy Spirit. That's just me. So it weirds me out and it disturbs me when people recoil at the truth of Jesus. So watch this video. It's very simple. I love the most simple things, but it demonstrates a issue that we have, which I think that maybe a lot of us need to take responsibility for. Maybe a lot of us need to have less fear in proselytizing and trying to save people. I mean, it's part of what we're called to do. And I know that it feels weird and it feels uncomfortable, but I really feel like there's got to be a mission to bring people back to Jesus. So this video was slightly disturbing. Tell me how you guys feel about this.
Do you guys believe in Jesus Christ?
No.
Do you guys believe in Jesus Christ?
No.
No?
No.
Do you believe in Jesus Christ? Do you guys believe in Jesus Christ? Do you believe in Jesus Christ? Do you believe in Jesus Christ? No. Do you guys believe in Jesus Christ?
No.
No? Do you believe in Jesus Christ? Do you believe in Jesus Christ? Do you believe in Jesus Christ? Do you guys believe in Jesus Christ?
Have a good night.
Do you guys believe in Jesus Christ by any chance? Do you guys believe in Jesus Christ?
I do not.
Do you guys?
So you notice some of the responses are subtle. Some of the responses are nonchalant. But some of the responses, you can see the demon in them recoil. There's no other way to say it. There's no other way to describe it. But it butts up with what I was saying, and what I have been saying is that there is a spirit of evil and deception that has dug in and that has succeeded in separating people from the power of Jesus and his redemption. And I know that that no one is without sin, so I don't pass judgment, because I think that ultimately what this is saying is that someone needs to have a conversation with these people and maybe bring them or show them the scripture and to teach. It may not stick with all of them, but if we can all individually bring one person to Christ, then I think we've succeeded, multitudes more than we think. We only, as one person, need to duplicate, the way and the truth that we have. If it's a father, a son, a brother, a sister, a mother, a cousin, anybody, it's worth our time to invest in trying to bring people back. Because the further and further we get away from it, the worse and worse society becomes, and we're all seeing it. We all live in it. I found that one interesting. This one kind of, for me, I thought it was an example on where we're at with the lack of motivation, or with the hesitance to have kids these days. I have 3 kids myself, and I understand even back when things weren't so hard and things weren't as expensive as they are now, that everything that has to do with raising a child can be almost overwhelmingly expensive. But I kind of felt for this lady when I saw this. Check it out.
I'm sorry. Who in the fuck decided we could make diapers and formula the 2 most needed things when you have a child, the most expensive things on this planet? These 2 things just costed me $92. Oh, you want me to start thinking about having a second kid? Simply how? How? I can't afford that. Absolutely not. And on top of it, as I swipe my card, walk out, pull out of the parking lot, this old woman starts for backing out of the parking spot. I said, ma'am, I had to get out of the parking spot. She goes, well, you could have done it in an intelligent way. And I said, not today.
All right, I was looking into this and it looks like diapers have increased about 50% over the last 10 years. Baby formula is also up about 45% over the last decade. Now, this far outpaces inflation. If we take a look here on what a good can of baby formula might cost, one without maybe seed oils and stuff, would be something like this. That's $52, and that's only 19.5 ounces. So how long?
I want to cut his commentary short, but it's crazy. And ladies and gentlemen, that is not a liberal lady. Okay. This comes from a conservative account that follows other conservative accounts. And it's a valid rant. The lady may seem liberalish, but it's because she's emotional about a subject that I think we should kind of all be addressing. We have talked about the replacement rate. We, as Republicans and conservatives, are all about, immigration, which I am too. I'm not criticizing it though, but I got to tell you that because of the fact that my kids are beyond the age where they would require diapers and formula, you got to remember that this is not a political thing. I mean, you can tell she's in a nice car. I mean, nice leather seats. I assume it's a Land, Range Rover, something of that nature. It's a luxury vehicle. So this lady's not on food stamps. She's most likely paying cash for it. And now that I've seen it, I have to agree with her that it's unacceptable. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, she's right. How are we going to want to create, or not create? How are we going to want to, have bigger families? Because we are encouraged to propagate. The Bible tells us to bear fruit and multiply, which we should do and we need to do, because right now the replacement rate is lower than what it needs to be. And I think that's why the crazy, New World Order and the powers that be want to flood first world countries with third world immigrants to make up for the lack of us having babies that will assimilate to our culture. We know that they don't have any problem spitting out kids, but we do. And I think that comes from the fact that a lot of these, it definitely comes from the fact that most of these immigrants get entitlements. So for them, and they got WIC and they got food stamps and they got welfare, to them, it doesn't hurt as much because the entitlements basically cover the costs of that. But when you're talking about just normal Americans trying to raise large families, you're churning off a whole generation of people at the first kid. They go, I'm not doing this again. I mean, she had a good point. She basically said, I'm not going to do this twice. So it's another subject that we need to bring up, or that we need to keep in mind, because I think when the midterms come and when the next presidential race comes, I think that and it was created, and we all know, the smart ones know, that this started happening with Biden. Of course, COVID fucked up the economy. Biden shit on the economy. Trump inherited the economy, but it ain't getting better. And they got that as a tool, their affordability and their, the whole cost of living and prices of grocery, cost of gas. We all know that there's a reason behind it, but if you got to point blame, you always point blame at the guy that's in office. So this is a point that I think, we as just little individual cogs in the, wheel aren't going to be able to, fix ourselves. But I think that maybe if we bring some attention to it, that maybe that can be what we focus on. It's cool that we're giving kids the Trump savings. I like that ideal. It incentivizes accounts and saving for children and their future and for their education when it comes around to that. But I think that we should probably focus on addressing immediate needs. I think it's something that if, anybody up there in office listens to me, which I highly doubt, then we should address it. Last thing, as we actually talk about people that listen to me, I was pleasantly surprised and honored that 2 days ago, a hearing of mine, unprompted and uninvited by me, followed me. If any of you guys know who John B. Wells is, John B. Wells is a radio personality that has been on the radio for 40 plus years. He used to do the weekend edition of Coast to Coast. Very conservative guy, God-loving guy. I believe that he saw the emergency post for Clara. I believe he may actually even follow Clara. I mean, she has a pretty diverse following, or somebody that was in that blogosphere. The show got shared by multiple people and was shared thousands and thousands and thousands of times. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the fact that you tune into my voice and, trust and are, informed by what I say. I can at the level of a John B. Wells. But it lets me know that I'm on the right track, that my content is respected by somebody who is so respectable. So, Mr. Wells, thank you so much. My honor goes to you. And it's given me a boost of confidence to continue to do what I'm doing. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I know it got long-winded. This stuff is all off the cuff, so I never know how it's going to go. I think this was a good one. Rest in peace, Mark Davis, metaphorically in his campaign. Next week, hopefully we have more fun news. And I want you guys to tune in every Tuesday. Now, as a suggestion, I'm going to be posting this directly, the full show, right directly to X. So you don't have to click on YouTube. You don't have to click on Rumble. I would like it, for monetization purposes, that I get as many followers and as many subscribes and as many views as I can on both of those platforms. However, to be honest and to share and to not be concerned about, the monetization of things and the popularity of things. If you only listen to it here on this platform, I appreciate you for that. If you want to support, then you can support by watching it on YouTube and watching it on Rumble. And we will continue to do this weekly. The momentum is doing nothing but building more and more. If you have any suggestions, if you have any comments, if you'd like to suggest subject matter, people I should invite, I'm trying to work on a call-in function of the show too, where we might want to start to do it live. I mean, the intention is, and I know that a lot of my cohorts do live feeds, but I wanted to get this thing up and running, get the following, get the feedback, so that when I started to do these live shows, we'd have an audience that would be interactive. So that's going to ultimately be what I intend to do, is to do the show live on Tuesdays or live on Monday nights. And then it would be posted as a, click on video Tuesday. So that's where the intention is. Anyways, guys, really, now I'm just talking too much. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.